What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. Let's get into WWE and the top story that's going on right now, and that is R-Truth. Ron the Truth Killings is, well, as he said, being released from WWE. But when doing more research, we find out that they're letting his contract expire. There is a little bit of difference between being contract expired and being released. Released in wrestling is you're fired. You know, he got fired. I'm just like, we just had this little mini program with him and John Cena. It had their Saturday Night's Main Event match last Saturday, like literally last Saturday. And for somebody who is so beloved in the company, I couldn't just see them just like, yo, we're firing you. But with them, with the news coming out saying that they're letting his contract expire, we don't know when his contract is up. At least I don't know. I gotta look deeper into it to know when his contract is up. But so he's still gonna work and still get paid and all that stuff like that until his contract expires. And then when it expires, they're not gonna renew it. And before I get into what my feelings are about that, we're gonna talk about on Twitter, X, what you want to call it, yesterday. That's when Truth announced that he was released, and I'm gonna read to you what the tweet says. It says, "I'm sorry to inform you all, I just got released from WWE. I want to thank WWE for the ride, but mostly I want to thank each and every one of you." And yes, every one of you capitalized, who was along for the ride. Thank you for all the love, support, and appreciation you have given me over the years. Thank you. When I first saw this tweet, I was just like, there's no way WWE is letting R-Truth go, unless there's some backstage stuff going on that I don't even know about. Unless there's a fight, unless somebody called about a name, they found something that's egregious, which is just so hard to believe for them to even be doing this. And then when you go look around, you're like, okay, his contract is coming to expire, and they're going to let him go because he ain't the only one, because apparently there is talks of them not renewing Carlito's contract. Now, first off, before I get into personally how I feel, R-Truth is 53 years old. My man don't look it. The black don't crack. And on top of that, he moves better than a lot of 53-year-old men that were in the ring. Like, he can still do his moves. I'm not talking about, once again, R-Truth has been for the past couple years doing the John Cena shtick. He's been doing the shoulder tackles. He's been doing the can't see me and the 5-knuckle shuffle and the attitude adjustment. Like, he's been doing that for the past couple years. But I mean, like, for those who know R-Truth and remember R-Truth and what he does, like, he can still hit his scissors kick. He can still hit his twisting forearm smash. He can still hit the split. At 53 years old, the man can still hit a split. All right, so it's impressive. And like I said, he do not look it. And he still, not only is entertaining on the mic, and like I said, the guy is very talented. The guy is very talented. Now, I've had my issues with R-Truth back in the day and recently, and it's mostly because how they book R-Truth. Because R-Truth, in my personal opinion, for all the things that R-Truth has given to this company and all the shit that they have given him, and he turned it into chicken salad, that he should have had a somewhat of a world title run or something. But before I get to that, with him being 53, it could have been a thing where they was like, I don't want to renew the contract because he's probably making a lot of money. R-Truth, but people don't realize that R-Truth was around during the Attitude Era. R-Truth came in at late 1999, early 2000. And this is back when he was K-Quit. And he was K-Quit, and then he teamed up with the Road Dogg. And when we teamed up with Road Dogg, they had their tag team thing going on, and then he he left WWE, and then he went to TNA. And then I want to say either in 2007 or 2008, he came back to WWE, and he been here ever since 2007 or 2008. I can't remember exactly what the year was. In 2008 is when he came back. And when he came back, R-Truth was mostly, for the majority of his run in WWE, was a comedy character. That's what he was. He was a joke. And to some people, he was cooning. To some people, depending on, who you talking to, right? But he had this one run in 2010 and 11 where he was a heel. And he could play a serious character, he could play a dumb character, he could play a funny character. Like, he has range. It's just that what they have him do was mostly, the step and fetch stuff all the time. But he had that feud where he was heel, that he was put up in a main event match with John Cena at Capital Punishment. He had him and The Miz teamed up, became the Awesome Truth, which that version of Awesome Truth was better than the one we got last year, because that was more of a joke. But I'm talking about back in the day, that Awesome Truth, that whole conspiracy storyline, I enjoyed it. And they had him main eventing Survivor Series against The Rock and John Cena. Like they put him in a very prominent spot. Alright? And he excelled at what he did. And I just felt as though he could have had another run like that. At least I'm not saying R-Truth need to win the WWE Championship, or they're gonna do it, but he could at least give him a little World Championship run. He deserved something. He deserves something. Now, with him being this old, and like I said, for him being there so long, he probably making a lot of money. They probably said, listen, for what you have left and how we see you, it ain't worth it. And they're going to cut it. Now, in hindsight, I'm making sure I put this out now, in hindsight, that's just business. But it sucks. Business sucks. TKO does not care about your legendary status. They don't care about a statistic. They don't care about any of that. They care about, you are a statistic, I meant to say. That's all you are. And they don't care. And they will get rid of you. Especially, it's like, why are we paying this old guy who doesn't do much so much money? I'm not saying that's the case. But I'm saying that could be one of the big reasons why it is. Because I think that's the reason why they're getting rid of Carlito. Because right now, Carlito's just doing nothing but Judgment Day stuff. And after a while, it's just like, all right, well, after that's done, what's next for Carlito? Carlito's not winning the WWE Championship. He's not winning the World Championship. Carlito's not even going to win a singles title. He was just there for a nostalgic boost. He came back like, hey, let me just get a quick little run, WWE, and call it off. Same thing with R-Truth. They're not giving this man no championship right now. They're not even going to build him up for a championship right now, which they should, but they didn't. So they probably looking at it like, well, he's 53 years old. I think that's why they got rid of Braun Strowman. He's making too much money, and he's in his 40s with bad knees. Like, it's a young man's game out here. Now, when it comes to me and how I feel, I think this whole thing was stupid. I really do. And I really do not like how he's going out. Like, once again, I don't know if R-Truth and WWE knew. Well, if R-Truth knew, hey, we're not going to renew your contract, but you could tell everybody next week after your program with Saturday Night's Main Event. Because, honestly, I was looking forward to, okay, he's playing, John Cena's, role model. Like, John Cena's his role model. I figured that after, John Cena turned him at the press conference, that they would actually build up a little bit of a storyline where Truth get into a little bit more of the serious side. They kind of shoehorned it in. They kind of gave it a weak build. And it was just nothing but a throwaway match at Saturday Night's Main Event to help build up to the Money in the Bank tag team match, which I'll get to when I do my predictions. And I was like, I think Truth deserves more than that. Because of the history he has with Cena. And because of what he can do. I mean, you could almost build it up like the Mark Henry. Now, I'm not saying on that level, but I'm just saying, remember when Mark Henry did the Sandman jacket and he's going to retire, and that whole thing was seen to build up the Money in the Bank in July? I felt as though that's what you could have did. But it turned him more into a serious character, at least for this one time. And then it could have been like if R-Truth knew he was about to be out the door, and they might just book it as a retirement match, put some stakes on it, and you know how much heat John Cena could have had by retiring R-Truth. As much as the fans love R-Truth. People backstage love R-Truth. So, and right now, Cena has gone from being a heel to the heel turn not working to getting mixed reactions. So, how else you can get some good heat back on him? Have him beat R-Truth and retire him. If this is what they knew in advance, if they didn't know anything, if Truth didn't know anything, but if Truth didn't know, I basically like that. And WWE was just like, well, it's we don't know necessarily how we're going to handle his contract. That I get it, why do it this way, but still, R-Truth was the kind of guy that Vince McMahon kept around because he made him laugh, and I'm just like, that's real, overseer slave master type energy there. But we've seen R-Truth play a serious role, like in TNA. He didn't play this joke character. He was the first black NWA champion. He had that run with Three Live Crew, which was Road Dogg and Conan, which had some questionable moments as well. But then he started going for the NWA championship, became the champion. And at one point you see with Pac-Man Jones. Like, he was a legit threat over there. But the problem with him over at TNA is because same reason why Gail Kim left in 2009. R-Truth left because TNA didn't want to pay him. TNA did not want to pay virtually anybody or take care of their health. Oh my God, I'll get to that when I talk about Dark Side of the Ring. But the TNA didn't want to pay him. So he left, came into WWE, and then for the most part, at the beginning, he was a joke character. Vince enjoyed because he made him laugh. But then when R-Truth turned heel and started smoking that cigarette over John Morrison, and everybody's like, ooh, what is this R-Truth? And then he had the whole conspiracy thing. The truth will set me free. If y'all remember that R-Truth, yeah. And that's what he was like going crazy. We had a conspiracy that Miz joined in, and that Hell in a Cell in 2011 when they crashed the Hell in a Cell afterwards with the triple threat between Alberto Del Dipshit, CM Punk, and Cena, I think it was, and they crashed and they all got arrested afterwards. Like, that was a big angle. And leading into Survivor Series with them teaming up against The Rock and Cena, one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing from the past and the biggest thing in the present, that shows in wrestling they got confidence in you and what you're doing. That was when I was really feeling R-Truth, and then all of a sudden they took the little Jimmy thing he was talking about with Cena and turned into like him talking about this invisible boy, right? But he made it work. That's one of the things that R-Truth does that I love about R-Truth, but annoys the fuck out of me at the same time. They would give R-Truth dumb things to do. And for some reason, he would make it work. Like, I'm not talking about, like, okay, he got over for a week. He found a way to make the shit work. If you wanted him rapping, if you wanted him, like I said, the awesome truth stuff, if the little Jimmy thing, next thing you know, he went to Stephanie. I just seen his interview with Chris Van Vliet and saying that he wanted to sell just a box with little Jimmy in it. Do you know people would have bought that? Hell, I would have bought that. Everybody going around and talking about the little Jimmy stuff. He made it work. Then remember the stuff that he was getting, even in serious segments. He was finding ways to make everybody crack up, especially when he would come out like in this 2015 era. Is when he would like come out. Everybody remembers the segment when he came out and talk about what he's gonna do at Money in the Bank, and Kane was just like, "You're not even in the match." And then he was just like, "Oh, you know what? My bad, Kane." You know what I'm saying? That's on me, dog. And he would do that in the match. Roman and Dolph was cracking up. Everybody was cracking the hell up. He ran out there during the Royal Rumble, pulled up the ladder and went up there and tried to find the briefcase just to get eliminated. And he made it work. People enjoyed it. People laughed at it. No matter what. Like, he even made the toughest of guys crack. He just made John Cena crack at the press conference. We got Andrew Judgment at Backlash. He made Brock Lesnar crack. Lesnar. And he has this ability about him. But on the flip side of that, what pisses me off is, and once again, I'm not trying to always bring race into something like that or politics something into stuff like that, even though it's literally in everything. As a black guy, from seeing R-Truth when I was a teenager, or even younger than that, because R-Truth is old, seeing R-Truth, it's like, yo, the guy is good, and you want to see yourself represented in these superstars. And it's kind of like with Kevin Nash on his podcast. He was just like, I would expect that if there are black kids out there that look up to R-Truth and they just want some kind of representation in their wrestling, because there are black fans, there are Hispanic fans, there are Native American fans, there are Asian fans. There's all kinds of fans of wrestling. And yes, everybody, we know wrestling is a white man's sport, and we know that. But then when you do see people that represent you, you kind of cheer for them. And he said, but they got R-Truth out here basically, he didn't say these words, but he said, cooning. He out here cooning. He's out here stepping fetching it. And after a while, you get tired of seeing that shit. You get tired of seeing it. Because he's so damn good. And it's like, why y'all can see how good he is. Why can't y'all do something with him that is meaningful and not just cooning? That's the frustration. And then even after the interruptions and making everybody laugh and all that stuff like that, the 24/7 title came up into play. That title was terrible. It's supposed to be the new hardcore title. And for some reason, when he got it, he made it the most interesting thing. Every time Truth lost it, I didn't care about it. But he found ways to make it interesting. We even got a storyline with Drake Maverick at the thing. When Cesaro had a match, it was a no disqualification match. He pulls out the table, and Truth is hiding on the table. That was some clever shit. Truth always running, and then they had the Drake Maverick wedding, and was he going to go there and get the championship back at the wedding? Everybody was into that. I didn't care about nobody else running around, or Ember Moon breaking her foot, which is unfortunate because she shouldn't have been out there doing that shit. Running around chasing that damn title. All I cared about was what R-Truth had, and then they got Carmella involved. And she was riding on R-Truth's back, and then he had Truth TV, which ended up even... He was out there making Daniel Bryan laugh so hard, and to the point he was like, yo, I'd rather have Truth TV than the Miz TV. I was looking forward to Truth TV. And it only lasted a couple weeks. I remember that, and it was like, how is he making this shit work? And you can't help but laugh at this guy, but you can't also be rooting for this guy. That's the issue. But then on top, but then he just be going back to doing dumb shit. And they never, after that 2011, 2012 run, they never gave him another shot. And that always bothered me. Then they had the Golden Truth, which was like, hey, Goldust and R-Truth instead of Goldust and Booker T. And see how they could do. And he found a way to make that work, but they didn't take him seriously. They didn't take him seriously at all. And I was like, all these things, y'all put him in there to do certain things, to do bullshit, and he finds a way to make it work. And then last year in Philly. Now, in hindsight, I'm glad I was able to see this live because the Awesome Truth got back together. And because he had that injury on NXT that took him out for almost a year. He tore his ACL in his 50s. And he was almost gone for a year, but he came back. And he came back with The Miz. Got back together, and he had his first WrestleMania moment. When he won the tag team titles with The Miz. Had his first WrestleMania moment. And I was just like, that is awesome right there. That he deserved that. Now, granted, they only held the titles for a little bit. They never would take it seriously. There was a comedy team And they just did that, so then he got him his moment, and he got the titles off of him, and he was going around calling Ciampa and Gargano DX and just doing the dumb shit thing all over again, and you get annoyed by it. After a while, you get annoyed by it because you know how good this guy is. You know how good he is, so why not give him the shot that he deserves? And that's what's the frustrating. I know, mainly for those who listen to the podcast, that's Q's biggest frustration right there. He always gets mad at R-Truth out there cooning, like he says. And I'd be like, I don't be that hard on R-Truth like Q-Flow will be, but I understand where Q-Flow's coming from. Because at least I believe, that Q knows how talented he is. And he's a multi-talented guy, and he's a rapper also, and a pretty good one at that. He's a multi-talented guy, and who can make literally anything work. Because you can throw a lot, the stuff that's been thrown on R-Truth. You can name about 5 different guys in the company who just can't make that work. No matter who you throw it on, it's like they can't make that work like he can make that work. And you see how talented this guy is, but him for not even to get an opportunity. That's the frustration part. And before everybody talk about, doing the black thing, the white thing, the politics around, stuff like that. Yes, I want to see some black people get a good opportunity, especially the ones who are very, very talented. And he's very, very talented. He's a Hall of Famer already for just the things that he done in this company. The impact that he brought to this company. Hell, his Ron Cena shirt, I thought they were just about to release it, so I can go buy one. Because I want that Ron Cena shirt. Hell, the Judgment Day stuff was hilarious. Not only that, it just fit. But once again, in the midst of it fitting and it being funny, he was still out there just like shucking and jiving. And you're just like, he's better than this. He knows he's better than this, but he can only do what you give him. He going to do what he's going to give him. I remember Dean Ambrose years ago when he first left WWE, I think he was on Talkers Jericho. And he was just like, listen, there are guys that's just not going to take all the stuff that is given to him. But there are guys that are like, I don't know if he said his name or not, but you know who he was talking about. Will just take anything that they give him and he'll make it good. He knows he can make it good, but he knows he deserves better than that. And that's the frustration. So when I hear this news that he got released, I'm just like, bruh, R-Truth, I'm not saying R-Truth needs the retirement year like Cena's having right now, which you can debate whether that's a good or bad thing right now. But however, you can sit there and make the point that R-Truth should be able to retire if he wants to. Keyword, if he wants to, on his own terms. And if he's like, yo, you know what? I'm 53 years old. I want to hang it up. I want to do something else. I want to teach. I want to rap. I want to do all this other kind of stuff. Then I'm allowed to do that. I have the choice if that's what I want to do. And he should be able to go out on his own terms. You earn him. If Goldberg can come back and have his little retirement match, it's only going to last 2 minutes. R-Truth could be able to go out the way he wants to go out. And honestly, if they knew that this was going to be something that he was going to do about a month ago, I would have built this whole Cena and R-Truth thing up at least until the next Saturday night's main event, or at least to Money in the Bank, or at least make a little series, and then you can have Cena retire Truth and get heat on him, because that would have got heat on Cena. That would have got some crazy heat on Cena that I think he can use right now. And you can have R-Truth be like, hey, I covered all my bases, and then it's time to call it a day. Maybe he don't get the world championship, but he can go out his way. So right now, maybe that could still be part of the plan. I don't know when the contract is going to expire. I don't know if they're going to let him go out there, but I mean, he deserves to go out there and say some words, or go out the way he wants to whenever his contract is up. And it's like, do I want to see him back at TNA? Maybe, but not really. I don't. It's like, he's been here 17 years. 17 years. And it's 17 years from when he came back. It's not even including when he first got there in 2000. Was it 99, 2000, 2001? Yeah. So if you add them years up, it's about 19, maybe 20 years in WWE altogether. It's unfortunate. It sucks. I don't like it. But that's the nature of the business, unfortunately. And that's the nature of how they're going to do business moving forward. So all them nostalgia actually we probably like, all them legend like, or whoever ain't just selling, whoever ain't bringing in the revenue or is too old, they going to get cut. It's probably going to happen to Carlito also. And it's probably going to happen to the more people that we love. Because this is what happens when you don't own your company anymore. And you're part of this TKO brand. And it sucks. And I just hope that he can have a good send-off. I just hope he has a good send-off. Because, R-Truth is deserving of that. He has done a lot for WWE. And he is well deserving of that.